Imagine waking up one day to realize that the people you thought were your closest friends were only there for the perks and the glamour. That's exactly what happened to me. I'm William, and I decided to expose my fake friends by pretending to be poor. What followed was a whirlwind of betrayal, injustice, and dramatic twists that left me questioning everything I knew about friendship and loyalty. In the bustling heart of New York City, I, William, had carved out a life that many would envy. As a successful entrepreneur, I had built a thriving tech startup from the ground up, and my hard work had paid off in ways I could have only dreamed of. My penthouse apartment in Manhattan offered breathtaking views of the city skyline, and my garage was home to a collection of luxury cars that turned heads wherever I went. I was known for my generosity, often treating my friends to extravagant dinners, lavish vacations, and exclusive events. Life was good, or so I thought. My circle of friends was tight-knit, or at least that's what I believed. We had been through thick and thin together, celebrating each other's successes and supporting one another through challenges. There was Jake, my childhood best friend who had been by my side since we were kids. Emily, the vivacious socialite who always knew the best places to be seen. And Lucas, the ambitious lawyer who was always ready with a quick wit and a sharp tongue. Together we formed an inseparable group, and I cherished the bond we shared. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day at the office, I decided to unwind at my favorite rooftop bar. As I sipped my drink, I overheard a familiar voice, Jake's. He was deep in conversation with Emily and Lucas, and their words sent a chill down my spine. I mean, sure, William's a great guy and all, but let's be real. If he ever lost his money, do you think any of us would still be hanging around? Jake's words were like a punch to the gut. Emily chuckled. Probably not. I love the perks of being his friend, but without the fancy dinners and trips, what's the point? Lucas added, exactly. It's all about the lifestyle. If he can't keep up, he's just another guy. Their words echoed in my mind, and I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and profound sadness. These were the people I had trusted, the friends I had considered family. The realization that they were only in it for the perks was a harsh wake-up call. I needed to know if their words were just a moment of thoughtlessness or if they truly reflected their feelings. Determined to expose their true colors, I decided to stage a financial crisis. I sold my luxurious penthouse and moved to a modest apartment in a quieter part of the city. I traded in my luxury cars for a reliable but unremarkable sedan. I informed my friends about my sudden financial downfall, claiming that my business had gone bankrupt and that I was struggling to make ends meet. Maintaining the facade was challenging. I had to be careful not to slip up and reveal the truth. I started living a frugal life, cooking at home instead of dining out, and avoiding the extravagant events that had once been a staple of my social calendar. My friends' reactions were telling. Some expressed sympathy, offering words of encouragement and support, while others became distant and cold. My family was unaware of my plan and became increasingly concerned about my financial situation. My parents offered to help, but I assured them that I had everything under control. The tension between us grew as they questioned my decisions and worried about my future. I struggled to maintain my composure, knowing that revealing the truth would only complicate matters. As I navigated this new reality, I found myself reflecting on the true meaning of friendship and loyalty. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and determination to expose my fake friends. I started documenting my experiences and observations, planning to confront them with the evidence when the time was right. With the stage set, I was ready to observe how my friends would react to my new circumstances. Would they stand by me, or would they reveal their true intentions? The coming weeks would be a test of their loyalty and a journey of self-discovery for me. Little did I know, the dramatic twists and emotional depth that lay ahead would change my life forever. The news of my financial downfall spread quickly among my friends. Their reactions varied, and each one revealed a different aspect of their character. Jake, my childhood best friend, was the first to respond. He called me, his voice laced with a mix of concern and curiosity. "Hey, William, I heard about what happened. Are you okay?" he asked, his tone almost too casual for the gravity of the situation. I played along. "Yeah, it's been tough, but I'm managing. Thanks for checking in." Emily, the vivacious socialite, sent me a text message that was as brief as it was insincere. So sorry to hear about your troubles. Hope you get back on your feet soon. Her words felt hollow, and I knew she was already distancing herself. Lucas, the ambitious lawyer, was more direct. He called me and got straight to the point. William, I heard about your situation. If you need any legal advice, let me know. But honestly, I think you should focus on getting your finances in order. His tone was cold, and it was clear that he saw my financial struggles as a liability. Some of my friends put on a good show of sympathy. They would call or visit, offering words of encouragement and support, but their actions spoke louder than their words. Invitations to social events dried up, and the once frequent get-togethers became rare. I noticed that they were always too busy to meet up, always had other plans when I suggested hanging out. Others were less subtle. They became distant and cold, their once warm greetings replaced by awkward silences and forced smiles. It was as if they were embarrassed to be seen with me, as if my financial struggles were a contagious disease they didn't want to catch. I felt the sting of their rejection, but it only fueled my determination to expose their true colors. Meanwhile, the tension with my family grew. My parents were increasingly worried about my financial situation, and their concern was palpable. They offered to help, but I assured them that I had everything under control. The strain between us was evident, and I struggled to maintain my composure, knowing that revealing the truth would only complicate matters. My sister Sarah was particularly vocal about her concerns. William, what's going on? You've always been so responsible. How did this happen? She asked, her voice filled with worry. I tried to reassure her. It's just a temporary setback, Sarah. I'll figure it out. But the doubt in her eyes was clear, and it added to the weight of my deception. As I navigated this new reality, I found myself reflecting on the true meaning of friendship and loyalty. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and determination to expose my fake friends. I started documenting my experiences and observations, planning to confront them with the evidence when the time was right. I spent countless nights lying awake, thinking about the conversations I had overheard, the words that had cut so deep. I wondered how I could have been so blind, so trusting. The betrayal stung, but it also lit a fire within me. I was determined to expose their true intentions and make them face the consequences of their actions. The journey was lonely, and I often found myself questioning my decisions. Was I doing the right thing? Was it worth the pain and the deception? But every time I doubted myself, I remembered the words I had overheard, the coldness in their voices, and the realization that they were only in it for the perks. I started to see the world through a different lens, appreciating the small things that I had once taken for granted. I found solace in simple pleasures, like a good book or a quiet walk in the park. I realized that wealth and material possessions did not define a person's worth, and that genuine friendships were built on trust and mutual respect. With the stage set, I was ready to observe how my friends would react to my new circumstances. Would they stand by me, or would they reveal their true intentions? The coming weeks would be a test of their loyalty and a journey of self-discovery for me. Little did I know, the dramatic twists and emotional depth that lay ahead would change my life forever. As the days turned into weeks, the first signs of betrayal began to surface. Jake, who had once been my closest confidant, started to distance himself even further. He would make excuses to avoid meeting up, and his calls became less frequent. I noticed that he was spending more time with Emily and Lucas, and I couldn't help but wonder what they were discussing behind my back. One evening, as I sat alone in my modest apartment, I received a text message from an unknown number. It was a screenshot of a group chat between Jake, Emily, and Lucas. The conversation was eye-opening, and it confirmed my worst fears. Jake, I think William is starting to suspect something. We need to be careful. Emily, agreed. Let's keep our distance for now. We don't want him to find out about our plans. Lucas, exactly. We need to play it cool until everything is in place. Their words sent a chill down my spine, and I knew that I was on the right track. The stage was set, and the drama was about to unfold. I was ready to face whatever came my way, determined to expose their true colors and seek justice for their betrayal. As the weeks passed, the cracks in my friendships widened, and the betrayal became more apparent. Jake, who had once been my closest confidant, was now actively working
discovered that
against
he
me.
had
He had been secretly trying to take over my business, poaching my clients and spreading rumors about my financial instability. His actions were a stark contrast to the friend I thought I knew, and the realization was painful. One day, I received an anonymous email with attachments that revealed Jake's treachery. There were copies of emails he had sent to my clients, offering them better deals if they switched to his new venture. He had even gone as far as to fabricate documents that painted me as an irresponsible businessman, using my staged financial crisis as evidence. The injustice of the situation was overwhelming. My former business partners and colleagues, who had once respected and admired me, now turned their backs on me. They believed the rumors spread by Jake and saw me as a liability. I struggled to clear my name and regain my reputation, feeling isolated and betrayed. I remember one particularly painful meeting with a longtime client, Mr. Thompson. He had been one of my earliest supporters, and his faith in me had been unwavering. But now, as we sat across from each other in his office, I could see the doubt in his eyes. "William, I've always had the utmost respect for you," he began, his voice heavy with disappointment. "But given the recent developments, I think it's best if we part ways. I can't risk my business on someone who can't manage their own finances." His words cut deep, and I felt a mix of anger and sadness. I tried to explain the situation, to assure him that the rumors were false, but he was unmoved. As I left his office, I felt the weight of the injustice pressing down on me, and I knew that I had to fight back. The dramatic twists kept coming, each one more shocking than the last. I uncovered a conspiracy involving Jake and several other friends who had been plotting against me for months. They had been carefully orchestrating my downfall, using my trust and generosity against me. One evening, as I sat alone in my apartment, I received a call from an old friend, Alex, who had moved out of the city a few years ago. He had always been straightforward and honest, and his call came as a surprise. "William, I need to talk to you," he said, his voice urgent. "I overheard something that you need to know about." We met at a quiet cafe, and Alex revealed what he had discovered. Jake, Emily, and Lucas had been meeting in secret, discussing their plans to take over my business and ruin my reputation. They had even gone as far as to hire a private investigator to dig up dirt on me, hoping to use it to their advantage. As Alex spoke, I felt a mix of shock and anger. I couldn't believe that the people I had trusted, the friends I had considered family, were capable of such betrayal. But the evidence was undeniable, and I knew that I had to act quickly. I started gathering evidence of their conspiracy, documenting every conversation, every email, and every meeting. I knew that I would need solid proof to expose their true intentions and seek justice for their betrayal. The emotional toll of the situation was immense. I felt a deep sense of betrayal and injustice, and I struggled to come to terms with the reality of my friendships. I spent countless nights lying awake, thinking about the conversations I had overheard, the words that had cut so deep. I wondered how I could have been so blind, so trusting. But amidst the pain and the anger, there was also a sense of determination. I was determined to expose their true colors and make them face the consequences of their actions. I knew that it wouldn't be easy, that the road ahead would be filled with challenges and obstacles, but I was ready to fight. The battle was lonely, and I often found myself questioning my decisions. Was I doing the right thing? Was it worth the pain and the deception? But every time I doubted myself, I remembered the words I had overheard, the coldness in their voices, and the realization that they were only in it for the perks. I started to see the world through a different lens, appreciating the small things that I had once taken for granted. I found solace in simple pleasures, like a good book or a quiet walk in the park. I realized that wealth and material possessions did not define a person's worth, and that genuine friendships were built on trust and mutual respect. As the evidence piled up, I knew that the time had come to confront my friends and expose their betrayal. I planned a meeting inviting Jake, Emily, and Lucas to my modest apartment. I wanted to catch them off guard, to see their reactions when faced with the truth. The night of the meeting, I felt a mix of nervousness and determination. I had rehearsed what I would say, how I would present the evidence, and how I would demand justice. But as I waited for them to arrive, I couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. These were the people I had once considered my closest friends, and now they were my enemies. As they arrived one by one, I could see the surprise in their eyes. They hadn't expected me to invite them, to confront them so directly. I could see the guilt in their faces, the realization that their betrayal was about to be exposed. I started the meeting by thanking them for coming, my voice steady and calm. I could see the confusion in their eyes, the uncertainty about what was to come. And then I began to reveal the truth, piece by piece, documenting their betrayal and exposing their lies. The room was silent as I spoke, the weight of my words hanging heavy in the air. I could see the shock in their faces, the realization that they had been caught, that their carefully laid plans were about to unravel. As the meeting came to an end, I felt a sense of relief and vindication. I had exposed their true colors, and I had demanded justice for their betrayal. I knew that the road ahead would be challenging, that I would face obstacles and setbacks, but I was ready to fight. I was determined to rebuild my life, to regain my reputation and my business, and to seek justice for the injustice I had suffered. I knew that it wouldn't be easy, that the battle would be long and hard, but I was ready to face whatever came my way. And as I looked at the faces of my former friends, I knew that I had made the right decision. I had exposed their betrayal, and I had demanded justice. And in doing so, I had rediscovered the true meaning of friendship and loyalty. The night of the confrontation was tense and emotionally charged. I had invited Jake, Emily, and Lucas to my modest apartment under the pretense of needing their support during this difficult time. As they arrived, I could see the unease in their eyes, the subtle glances they exchanged betraying their guilt. I started the meeting by thanking them for coming, my voice steady and calm. Thanks for being here, guys. It means a lot to have your support during this tough time. Jake shifted uncomfortably in his seat, while Emily forced a smile. Lucas, ever the lawyer, maintained a poker face, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. I continued. I know things have been tough lately, and I appreciate you all sticking by me. The irony in my words was palpable, and I could see the discomfort growing in their expressions. Without wasting any more time, I pulled out a folder containing all the evidence I had gathered. Emails, text messages, and even recordings of their conversations. I laid it on the table, the sound of the folder hitting the surface echoing in the silent room. I think it's time we address the elephant in the room, I said, my voice firm. I know about your plans. I know about the conspiracy to take over my business and ruin my reputation. The room was silent for a moment, the weight of my words hanging heavy in the air. Jake was the first to speak, his voice trembling slightly. William, what are you talking about? We're your friends. We would never do something like that. I opened the folder and began to lay out the evidence, piece by piece. These are the emails you sent to my clients, Jake, offering them better deals if they switch to your new venture. And these are the fabricated documents you created to paint me as an irresponsible businessman. Emily's face paled as she looked at the evidence. William, this is a misunderstanding. We were just trying to help you. I cut her off, my voice cold. Help me? By spreading rumors and turning my clients against me? By hiring a private investigator to dig up dirt on me? Lucas finally spoke up, his voice measured. William, you need to understand. Business is business. We were just looking out for our own interests. Their reactions were a mix of shock, guilt, and defensiveness. Jake tried to justify his actions, claiming that he was only doing what was best for the business. Emily attempted to play the victim, insisting that she had been manipulated by Jake and Lucas. Lucas, on the other hand, remained stoic, admitting to his actions but refusing to show any remorse. I listened to their excuses, their attempts to shift the blame, and I felt a deep sense of disappointment and anger. These were the people I had trusted, the friends I had considered family, and now they were revealing their true colors. As I confronted them with the evidence, I could see the realization in their eyes that they had been caught. They knew that their carefully laid plans were about to unravel, and they were scrambling to save themselves. I took a deep breath, my voice steady and firm. I'm not going to let you get away with this. I'm taking legal action against all of you. I'm going to expose your betrayal and seek justice for the injustice I've suffered." The room was silent for a moment, the weight of my words sinking in. Jake looked at me, his eyes wide with shock. "William, you can't do this. We're your friends. We've been through so much together." I met his gaze, my voice cold. "Friends don't betray each other. Friends don't stab each other in the back. You're not my friends. You're my enemies, and I'm going to make sure you face the consequences of your actions." The legal battle that followed was long and arduous. I hired the best lawyers I could find, determined to expose their betrayal and seek justice. I presented the evidence in court, documenting their conspiracy and their attempts to ruin my reputation. The trial was a whirlwind of emotions, with witnesses testifying to their actions and the impact they had on my business and my life. Jake, Emily, and Lucas tried to defend themselves, but the evidence was undeniable, and their guilt was clear. The verdict was a vindication of my struggle. The judge ruled in my favor, finding Jake, Emily, and Lucas guilty of conspiracy, fraud, and defamation. They were ordered to pay damages and were barred from engaging in any business activities for a significant period. As the verdict was announced, I felt a sense of relief and vindication. I had exposed their true colors, and I had demanded justice for their betrayal. I knew that the road ahead would be challenging, that I would face obstacles and setbacks, but I was ready to fight. The emotional impact of the confrontation and the legal battle was immense. I felt a deep sense of betrayal and injustice, and I struggled to come to terms with the reality of my friendships. I spent countless nights lying awake, thinking about the conversations I had overheard, the words that had cut so deep. I wondered how I could have been so blind, so trusting. But amidst the pain and the anger, there was also a sense of determination. I was determined to rebuild my life, to regain my reputation and my business, and to seek justice for the injustice I had suffered. I knew that it wouldn't be easy, that the battle would be long and hard, but I was ready to face whatever came my way. As the dust settled from the legal battle, I began the process of rebuilding my life. I focused on regaining my reputation and my business, determined to emerge stronger and more resilient. I reached out to my clients, assuring them that the rumors were false and that I was committed to rebuilding their trust. I also took the time to reflect on the true meaning of friendship and loyalty. I realized that wealth and material possessions did not define a person's worth, and that genuine friendships were built on trust and mutual respect. I vowed to be more cautious in the future, to value authentic connections, and to cherish the people who truly cared about me. With the legal battle behind me and my reputation slowly being restored, I felt a sense of hope and optimism. I was ready to start fresh, to build meaningful relationships and to focus on what truly mattered in life. I became more involved in community service and philanthropy, using my experiences to help others and to make a positive impact in the world. As I looked back on the journey I had undertaken, I realized that the betrayal and the injustice I had suffered had taught me valuable lessons. I had learned the true meaning of friendship and loyalty, and I had emerged stronger and more resilient. I was ready to face the future with hope and determination, knowing that I had the strength to overcome any challenge that came my way. In the aftermath of the confrontation and the legal battle, I found myself reflecting deeply on the lessons I had learned. The betrayal by Jake, Emily, and Lucas had left a profound impact on me, shaping my perspective on friendship, loyalty, and the true meaning of success. I realized that wealth and material possessions did not define a person's worth, and that genuine friendships were built on trust and mutual respect. I spent many nights alone, contemplating the events that had unfolded. The pain of betrayal was still fresh, but it was tempered by a newfound sense of clarity and purpose. I understood that the people who had betrayed me were not worthy of my time or energy, and I was determined to surround myself with those who valued me for who I was, not for what I had. With a renewed sense of purpose, I decided to start fresh. I moved out of my modest apartment and into a more comfortable but still humble home. I wanted to live a life that was balanced, one that valued relationships and personal growth over material wealth. I became more involved in community service and philanthropy, using my experiences to help others and to make a positive impact in the world. I joined local volunteer organizations and participated in community events, finding fulfillment in giving back to those in need. I met new people who appreciated me for who I was, not for my wealth or status. These connections were genuine and meaningful, and they helped me heal from the pain of betrayal. Rebuilding trust was a slow and deliberate process. I was cautious about who I let into my life, taking the time to get to know people on a deeper level before forming close bonds. I valued authenticity and honesty above all else, and I was determined to build relationships that were founded on mutual respect and understanding. I also took the time to reconnect with old friends who had been genuine and supportive throughout my life. These were the people who had stood by me during my staged financial crisis, offering words of encouragement and support without expecting anything in return. I cherished these friendships and made an effort to nurture them, appreciating the value of true loyalty. My family had been unaware of my plan to expose my fake friends, and the tension between us had grown during my staged financial crisis. Now, with the truth revealed, I took the time to explain my actions to them. I apologized for the deception and the worry I had caused, and I expressed my gratitude for their unwavering support. My parents and sister were understanding and forgiving, and our bonds grew stronger as a result. We spent more time together, reconnecting and appreciating the value of family. I realized that my family was my rock, the foundation upon which I could build a new life. On the professional front, I focused on rebuilding my business with a renewed sense of integrity and purpose. I reached out to my clients, assuring them that the rumors were false and that I was committed to rebuilding their trust. I worked tirelessly to regain my reputation, determined to emerge stronger and more resilient. I also made changes to my business practices, prioritizing ethical conduct and transparency. I wanted to create a workplace that values its employees and fostered a culture of trust and respect. I implemented policies that promoted work-life balance and encouraged open communication, ensuring that my team felt valued and supported. The journey of betrayal and redemption had taught me valuable lessons about personal growth. I realized that true success was not measured by wealth or status, but by the impact we made on the lives of others. I focused on cultivating qualities such as empathy, compassion, and resilience, striving to be a better person each day. I also took the time to pursue hobbies and interests that brought me joy and fulfillment. I rediscovered my love for reading, writing, and outdoor activities, finding solace and inspiration in these simple pleasures. I understood that a balanced life was key to happiness and well-being. As I looked back on the journey I had undertaken, I realized that the betrayal and the injustice I had suffered had ultimately led me to a place of growth and enlightenment. I had learned the true meaning of friendship and loyalty, and I had emerged stronger and more resilient. I was ready to face the future with hope and determination, knowing that I had the strength to overcome any challenge that came my way. My story serves as a reminder that true friendship and loyalty are rare and valuable. I encourage others to cherish genuine relationships and to be cautious of those who may have ulterior motives. Life is filled with challenges and setbacks, but it is also filled with opportunities for growth and redemption. By focusing on what truly matters, authentic connections, personal growth, and making a positive impact, we can overcome adversity and build a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. My experience has taught me that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of hope. Betrayal and injustice can be painful, but they can also be catalysts for personal growth and transformation. By surrounding ourselves with genuine people, pursuing our passions, and striving to make a positive impact, we can overcome any obstacle and build a life that is truly worth living.